become reality. Come join the movement, let's take AI to the next level. We're breaking barriers, rewriting the code. Together we'll conquer, watch our ideas unfold. The future starts here, joining the revolution. Let's say our podcast, the ultimate solution.
See, the guys don't realize that that's where I cut it all off sometimes. It's just like chop right in the middle of the song. I'm going to divide that into two different things here shortly, but I haven't done that yet. So welcome to Best AI Podcast, everyone. I'm Leland Best, the Best Live TV. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourself one more time so we remember who you guys are. Ross, you first.
Ross McCamey with Maverick Solutions. I am your Maverick marketing guru guy, minus the guru because I hate gurus. So that's me. I'm here. I build conversational AI, and I kick it with people like Chris and Leland on the daily so that we can keep growing in our AI knowledge together.
Very good, Chris.
I love it. I'm Chris. I started a wedding DJ business 10 years ago, eventually went back to school and got a degree in marketing. And now I help businesses start and grow their business. Sometimes that involves AI.
That's right. If you guys caught the agenda, which these guys didn't seem to, we're going to start. It's okay. Chris is actually coming to us from a hotel room in Vegas because he was enjoying the weekend out there in Sin City. Let's just call it for what they call it. Hope you're enjoying yourself in the hotel room there, Chris.
It's fantastic. I appreciate it. Thank you. I was going to say, yeah, Leland has technical issues, no problem. I think Ross and I will take over from here. The guys with no agenda at all. Yeah, we got it. We're good.
That's right.
The good news is we prompt every day, and the agenda is about prompting. So
exactly.
It's just second nature.
I tried to make it easy on everybody. And I don't know if Lee's going to actually show up or not. Lee got a hold of me about 3 p.m. today and said, wife had plans for me, and I totally forgot. So he said he probably won't make it back in time for the broadcast. And Brad is still out due to the fact that they're renting, or he's renting a home that they're looking at selling out from under him. So they're just basically not available on Sundays so they can show the home. And he's hoping to come back here in a week or two. We'll see how that goes. So conversational AI again, I guess, is the topic. Back to generating prompts, I think is what we really need to focus on, because I've seen people use ChatGPT and it kind of freaks me out. Have you ever sat down and watched somebody for the first time try to use it and the way they ask it to do stuff? Like, what's the wildest thing you've seen somebody try to ask ChatGPT to do? Anything? I'm just throwing that out there.
It's just the way that it's almost like they want to segment, like if you, let's say you want to use Dolly for something like green bicycle on street. And it's like, you got to give it context, and they just want to give little pieces of it and see how it works, which is actually interesting. And I'll let Chris go, but I've actually found a way to solve that using people's inefficiencies to then create the prompt on the back end and come up with some amazing things.
Chris,
so
what do you got?
That'll be later on in the segment.
Yeah. Go ahead, dude.
I think it's pretty similar to how people try to use Google. There's people who are pretty excellent at creating and driving more results from the prompt itself. But again, I think that's something software creators ultimately try to make, is something that's so stupidly easy to use, but they take that feedback and then try to evolve the software itself to be easier to use and, less friction, a less experienced user be able to use it.
Gotcha.
If you ask ChatGPT to draw you a screwdriver, would they make the drink or the tool?
I'm trying it right now.
And hey, there's a great use for ChatGPT, drink recipes. Ross, you want to give an example of coming up with a drink recipe on ChatGPT there?
Yeah, after Dolly's done thinking about making a screwdriver.
Oh, it's going to draw one for you?
We'll see what it comes up with. I'm sure it does an actual screwdriver, not the drink, but I'm surprised.
No, I totally get it. I'm fixing up some stuff here. Keep talking.
What's interesting, too, is I typed in draw me a screwdriver, and it actually did a screwdriver. But the prompt, I usually say generate me an image of. And
yeah.
this time I did draw me a screwdriver, and it pulled up the screwdriver.
Not a drink.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which I
really?
just share in this. I don't know if I'm supposed to share in this, Leland. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You can use your screen share.
I am not
take it over.
I am not the technical videographer.
Nope, you know how to use screen share on Zoom, right? That's
Yeah, and that's what I did, but I didn't know if that messed with your.
No, it'll pull up. It should fill in the window. It should.
Perfect. I think
Maybe
it did.
didn't.
I just kept seeing my face on
Let me
the
see.
other screen. Yeah, I'll do it again.
Oh, it should be share. Here we go. There. Now we got you.
There it is. Okay, so it did work. So there's the screwdriver that it came up with.
Nice.
And now I'm gonna say,
nice.
no, I meant the
drink.
And see what it comes up with. But this is actually why it's kind of hard to see people screwing up prompting, because I just talk to it like if I were talking to a person. That's actually a cool screwdriver.
I like that.
Nice.
That's a really cool picture. All right, I'm just fixing a couple other things here.
So in your experience, Russ, are there certain, guidelines or templates we should follow when trying to craft our prompts?
Man, I think it's preference in how you do it, but a lot of it is context. So I typically start with something like this, and this is very similar to the process. Draw me a screwdriver, then I'm at the drink. And along the conversation, I just tweak it as I go.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it has context of what I was talking about. And by the way, we're here now. Give me the recipe. So then it gave me the recipe. It's very simple. It's just like talking to a person. It's just a computer interface via language. What I've done is I will go through this process until I get it down perfect. And then I say, hey, this is exactly what I want. Now give me a prompt that will generate this outcome every single time. And then ChatGPT will give me that prompt. And then I go into a whole nother chat and I try it. And usually what I'll do is I'll say, now give me variables that I can change in this for different, like I do it for business a lot. Give me variables that I can change in this that will work for any industry, for any product, any person, any ideal avatar. Because usually I use this for marketing. And then what I do is I create a form on the back end for those variables. And then I do a webhook and I put my prompt in there. So every time somebody fills out a form, now it just spits them out. And what I've done is I built it to where it emails them the output that ChatGPT does.
Gotcha.
So it's really just playing with it and figuring it out. But I don't know. What do you think, Chris? What do you do? I know you use this as much, if not more, than I do.
Yeah, very similar to you. I'm about as specific as I can be. I try to understand where ChatGPT could misinterpret me. And I think that goes in line with communication. So you try to make sure that the receiver, ChatGPT, understands what you're trying to deliver to them. And then you tweak your results. If you get something that isn't to your liking, see what went wrong, try to fix it. But I've never done the give me a summary of what prompt would give me this conclusion every time. I think that's really smart. And then to take the variables, toss it into a form and a webhook, that's just brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I do that helps me customize systems for my clients, because I don't charge for that. For that, that's a freebie that I give away. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll help them go to OpenAI. And I do this with Anthropic too, with Claude. I think Claude actually gives a little bit better human sounding responses. So we'll do that and I'll help them get their API keys, set up the billing in there, and then they're just paying for their own usage at that point. And what I did is I just created a form that's another add-on for what I actually build out, which is the conversational AI. So my goal is to give them tools to then drive in more leads, drive in more clients, so that my AI can take more of that service and allow them to sell more and scale. Because that's where we all know that with the conversational AI, that's where I'm getting paid. So if I can add any services to it, I just try to find the best ways to do that.
Hey, Ross, go ahead and stop your screen share. Your screen blacked out in the video.
Yeah, I did that like 2 minutes ago, and it's just spinny wheeling on me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Zoom's probably going to crash. I just wanted to continue that conversation until it did.
I don't think it'll crash. It's just
Yep,
Sure.
Zoom
I'll
meeting
try
is
to
not
take
responding.
over. Oh, really? All right, hold on.
Yeah, I'll be back.
No, I'll take. I was going to just take over the screen share and maybe be able to take it from him.
If you can, my Zoom is crashing on.
That's weird. Here, stop share. See if you can switch to camera view now. Is it still froze? Yeah, I'm going to have to boot him. That's interesting. There he goes. I don't want to remove him because if I do, he won't be able to get back in. There he is. He's got two people in here now. Let's see how this works. It's still got his other one sharing. Shows him as twice. Yeah, but the software took a shit. That's what it looks like.
Zoom, and it was on my end because the whole Zoom just crashed. I was talking. I can even see like my.
There we go. I got it.
No, that's light. That's not. Oh, that's annoying.
I got you.
I got dead pixels on my screen. Oh wait, no, that's the window.
Now you're back. All right, so we're good. Don't worry about it.
We're off to a good start today, fellas.
It's okay. Nothing a little bit of editing can't fix. Now the people out there may be like, "What the hell is wrong with these guys? They must have." It's like 4:21. That was a day late. Anyway,
it almost feels like every week we're doing it live for the first time. Like Bill O'Reilly, like, okay, we'll do it live.
Right. All right. So I have those guys on a Zoom, and that's what's really going on here. But let's cover some of the things you just started to talk about. And we really do need to dig into what it takes to make a good prompt. And there are specifics to it. A lot of people don't know this. They're on the screen next to me, and I'm going to make that a little bit bigger so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. And there's an article that I'm going to share with everybody. It was written by Hootsuite. And here, let me do it this way. I'm going to put it out in the feed. It's going to take me just a second, but I'm going to go put it on the feed that's going out to the page on Best AI Podcast. So I know you guys are out there probably watching. We're not picking up the messages right now because of the way we started. But let's do this. When I get there, Facebook, I swear, it starts putting up profiles that you haven't used in like 10 years in the place of the one that you always switch to every day that you like to post on. It's like, really? Why do you do this? All right. So, go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to comment on how terrible the Facebook newsfeed is now. Its first post is either an ad or a suggested someone you should follow, as if they think we're going to Facebook to just consume content and hang out. Yeah. We're there to see our friends, family, and colleagues and business connections and their posts. Simply, that's absolutely. It.
Absolutely.
How many times do I have to click on a view all comments from a post? It says that they're showing the most popular
or most,
and then it's literally, yeah, there's like 2 comments max, but they won't show them, and it's literally the only 2 comments there. It's like, that was super relevant. Why didn't you show that to me?
Exactly.
And I'm not seeing things until like the next day from people posting.
3 days for me sometimes before it actually is seen in my feed. No, and I'm on Facebook just about every day because I run a dozen pages, 5 groups, and some of my own, Facebook ads, whatever I have to do on Facebook. It's always for somebody or myself. So I left a link over on the Facebook page for Best AI Podcast, and this came from Hootsuite out of their blog. It's called 202 Awesome ChatGPT Prompts to Boost Productivity. And one section I really want you to pay attention to is as you scroll down where it says, what is ChatGPT prompt engineering, which you're going to see right here at the beginning, which is what we're doing. We're engineering prompts to put into ChatGPT to get a response or a productive answer. And in this case, if you head down to the bottom of the first example, you'll read a little paragraph that says, when engineering the best ChatGPT prompts, focus on these principles. And it's really where it shines. So clarity, simplicity, context, specificity, and role playing. We've all been told, act like it's something. Give it a persona. Make it a teacher. Make it a professional something or another. Make it something that it can apply skills to, so that it knows who it is, what it's capable of, and what it should be doing, right? And then it all comes down to making those prompts not some, give me a blue cat, give me a light hued blue cat in a green sweater on a brick wall with a grass, just whatever. You want to get as detailed as possible. Give it context. Tell it why you're making that image. What is it for? How you might be able to keep it simple. I see some people using a solid strength, single sentence prompt. Those are good. And there's a ton of them listed here. So if you go through this article, you'll see ones for resumes, ones for marketing, ones for writing, ones for small business. And if you just take these and copy them just the way they are, they will provide you a service. You have to look at them for what they're doing. So have you guys broken up your prompts and saved a list of prompts that you use a lot at all?
I personally have not.
Good idea.
I don't. Yes and no. So let me rephrase that. There are certain prompts that I do that I use over and over again internally, and that's how I got the idea for the forms. So I take those and I put those into a prompt that all I have to do is fill out a couple variables on a form, and then it spits me out whatever I'm looking for. So I created a financial projection calculator using the variables on a form that my prompt then has the math on the back end. I saved that prompt, obviously, in the webhook. For Facebook posts, I created a prompt that does that. Mm-hmm. But typically, I just kind of have a structure that I go through, and I use it for so many vast use cases that it's almost never the same. And if I do, then it's something that I can typically create a form for that then I can replace variables in. Gotcha. The other thing I did notice in this is one thing that I would say that Hootsuite did not cover is negative prompt engineering. To be able to say, do not do this, especially if you're using it for content. Like, I can almost immediately pick out an AI written piece of content now by certain phrasings. So I'll put
conclusion.
Yeah. Or the 1 million emojis that are in it every single time. And so to do it the right way and to make it sound more human, you can take those phrases that you hear over and over again, and you could say, do not include this, do not include that, and make sure that you give it negative prompts as well.
Do you use negative prompts in written content or just imagery? Yeah. Really?
Written content, especially.
I've never used a negative prompt in a written conversation. I guess it's more for when I'm doing images, because then, don't give me 5 fingers, don't give me 2 heads, don't give me, 5 legs. You
don't want 5 fingers?
No. Well, you know what I mean. Don't give me 6 fingers. I say that only because I used to have a cousin who had 6 toes on each of her feet. It was the weirdest thing ever. Yeah. She had 2 middle toes, the secondary toe, like past your big toe. She had 2 of those on both feet. Just one of those things. But what I guess I'm trying to get at here is you can go small or you can go really big. And if you guys recall, I shared with some of you guys in the first couple of shows the Chat GPT prompt, like the ultimate prompt. And that was something that I got from the internet. That was just kind of out of nowhere. And I want you guys to see this again, just so you guys kind of get a feel for how far you can go with this. Maybe I missed it. Oh, speaking of negative prompts, though, here's a good example of what Ross is talking about here. I'm going to make this big enough so you guys can see it when it comes to actual. Let me get the size right. Can you read that now? Yep. Be able to. So these are examples of negative prompts. We don't want double body, double face, double features, incorrect posture, pregnant. Maybe they don't want pregnant images of women when they're trying to get women images, disfigured images, poorly drawn faces, long fingers, cropped, blurred, deformed, too many fingers, various styles you might run into, ugly eye. It always used to have a problem with eyes. I don't know if you guys saw, they just shut down DALL-E 2. So that one's no longer being used. But that was one model that had a really hard time with fingers, toes, legs, arms, and eyes. So they got rid of it. I'm going to find that prompt. It's here somewhere. I thought it was right there in the thing, but it's not. that prompt is basically a list. If you look up the ultimate prompt, I think you'll find it online. And the guy used a bunch of symbolism inside his prompt. And what that allowed him to do was create this long standing, it's literally like 3 pages long. He loads it up into GPT before he ever starts. And that way he can use certain symbols, character references, control sequences if he wants, like control C, control F, control whatever, function keys, all to represent variables almost within the context of what he's developing. So he tells GPT to be this, follow these orders. When I say this, do this. And when you respond, give me like an icon or an emoji that tells me why you're responding like that. Like if it's an emergency that I can't, I don't want to forget, give me this little explanation point or exclamation point or whatever. And when I get it, I'll show you. But
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
One thing you can do with that stuff too is if you find an ultimate prompt like that, you can take it and throw it into GPT and you can say, I want you to change this to this, and anywhere this is here, and it'll rewrite that prompt for you. And then you have your own customized version of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it's right here. It's just really ticking me off that I had it set aside for the show, and I probably should put it somewhere I should not.
I wonder if that that special prompt that you guys are talking about, I saw maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe Leland mentioned this first, but it was about asking ChatGPT or your language model to take time to think and rethink about what you're going to say and then say it. So it's asking ChatGPT to kind of self-reflect, which was very interesting, and they actually improved accuracy and the output from it.
Yeah, I just did that on a build that I did for Nathan, which was for my Twitter influencer. So I had it go back and reevaluate and think about the 3, and I'll show you guys that in a minute too. But I'm going to see if there's people out there that have questions. Do you guys see any feeds going out right now? I'm going to check on stage 10, see if we get anybody hanging, because I'd really like to help people out on this. I know I saw some people saying try again. But...
In the meantime, do you mind if I just blab? I got a happy belated birthday message that was generated with AI from one of my business connections here. I know, right? And man, there were 9 emojis, and the first intro message sounded like a subject line, and then the rest sounded like some just gobbledygook fluff, just like, hope your birthday's filled with this and this and that. Like, no one takes the time to make that, like, just say, hey man, happy birthday. That's it. No emojis, there's like confetti celebration, like, no. But I think it's important to kind of find a balance between appropriate to use AI, and maybe he should look at adjusting the prompt a bit to use a lot less emojis, maybe 9 less, and speak more naturally.
There's that. I'm going to get it here in a second. I want you guys to see it. How I lost it, I have no clue, but I've usually always got it sitting right here.
How did that make you feel when you saw that, dude? Just curious.
So first I was like, if he actually thought, to reach out on my birthday, that's cool. Obviously it's an automation tool that he's using in order to reach out with friends within X amount of days of your birthday. And then I was like, cool, I see what you're doing. Let me help direct or guide you a bit. And I said, hey man, I appreciate that. Also, I can tell this is an AI tool, nothing wrong with that. But I provided some feedback and suggestions to make it sound more natural and human. I said, take out the emojis, take out half the words. And I think you have a winning sentence there. I don't think that needs to be AI personal or written with AI. I don't know I would rather that just be a boilerplate template. I'd rather you as a human make it as close to natural as you can. AI personalization is more, I don't know, I would feel like maybe at that point, using AI would be like reference the person's Facebook post and find something and mention, oh, I saw this post, or something that they commented on, try to reference that. That's where I want to see AI implemented.
Okay,
That's
so
happening.
here's the ultimate prompt, guys. I found it. And I'm going to put this on the screen so anyone out there watching can actually see it. It's literally a PDF file that I downloaded, and I see it's 1, 2, 3, 4 full pages. Okay. And this is what you would upload into ChatGPT before you even started. And what it basically says is, upon starting our interaction, auto run these default commands throughout our entire conversation, and refer to the appendix for the command library and instructions. So he's got a priming prompt. He's got all these little definitions that are basically variables that he's going to queue in, and have these little emojis that pop up on the screen, like only show this little emoji with a monocle in response to or a question you're asking, not on its own. If it's context, give me a brain. If it's, an expert address, give me a search magnifying glass. Auto suggestions made by GPT are light bulbs. Like, hey, here's one for you to look at. And as you prime these prompts, it's basically telling it exactly how he wants it to respond. You present a new prompt and ask for more feedback if you're not getting enough to provide a proper answer. Here's some command appendix. He's given examples of actual commands that he could fire off at any time. And just say, backslash, okay, I'm going to try something else. I want you to try this. I want you to try this, and start throwing orders at it that have been predetermined whenever he wants to execute them. So he's got like 25 of those, 20 of those, 30 of those. And then he's got some examples, which is another thing that is huge when it comes to prompting ChatGPT, is to give an example of what it is you're trying to create. So if you're trying to duplicate someone else's work in your own, flavor, give it that example and use that, and tell it you want to twist that and change it and make it different, and it will. Here again, personas. You're an expert ChatGPT prompt engineer. You're a math expert. You're an English expert. Whatever. You're a psychology major. Some more commands to test. Simulate. A lot of people forget this. You can have it simulate things. And then reports are another huge one. I think a lot of that is where people don't realize the power of a language model when it comes to preparing reports with divided out data and segmented data and tabled data and things of that nature. Lists. I know I do that a lot. I did that for building my little YouTube channel for making trivia videos. I had ChatGPT go and literally create every little question for the trivia with 4 responses. And it's able to do that, but the formatting wasn't easy. It took like 3 or 4 tries before I actually got a proper table that I could copy and paste into a spreadsheet that would work right. Because you have to know the prompt. If you don't, it's just going to give you raw data. And that's the part you have to reconfigure. So what hurdles have you guys run into with using prompts that are like, why won't it do what I'm asking it to do? Have you guys struggled with that at all?
If you've used ChatGPT, you struggle with that.
Thank you. That's the answer I was looking for, Ken.
This guy prompts. He prompts, yeah.
They're not easy.
No, it's definitely not. I lost my cool with ChatGPT and said, "The hell are you doing?" and some other colorful language to it, which actually works because then it's like, "I'm so sorry. Let me try it this way." It understands the context of the emotion that you're conveying, but but it's not easy, man. The worst part is when you max out your attempts, and then it tells you that you have 3-hour delay before you can use more, and you're in the middle of it and you're right at the end, like, damn it, I was so close to getting that, and then you forget your entire train of thought when you get back to it.
Oh, for sure. Now, what about tools that you guys are actually applying other than GPT? Because I think I showed one initially when I came out here. This was built by a friend of mine, Steve, and Steve is the owner of Event Raptor. he built this as a way to help people that do events build their event content. And he created all these templates that are basically tied to GPT. There's a lot of other ones like this. There's textbuilder.ai. I've seen, I could name probably a dozen or more that are on AppSumo and other software sites where you can get lifetime deals for this with credits that you apply toward GPT rather than opening even your own account. You use their account and apply the credits they give you monthly. This one he gave me, I think it was 50,000 documents a month that I could make, or 5,000 a month. But the way he did it was a lot different. You come in here, and even though you have a template, you create a project. Okay, so I created a project for BLTV, which is my best live TV. The way he did it was a lot different. Whoop, I got audio coming back. Is that you, Russ? Must be somebody playing the YouTube channel. So from here, you set up the page, you get it ready to go, and then you want to create the documents for it. So if I wanted to create a document, I could start with a template, or I could just run through the dashboard and actually go through some steps that he does. So 50,000 words available, and I'm going to generate a document. So in this case, I come up with a name. This will just be my test document, I guess, for this. What type of document do I want to make? Well, this is where it gets cool. Do I want to make a lead magnet? Do I have something for a virtual event, like frequently asked questions, virtual event headlines, text for a blog article, quote generator, summarize some content, social media bio, name generators, developers for code, whatever it might be. So explain like I'm 5. We hear this one a lot. How does a rocket go into space? Maybe that's my test document. Creates the document. Simple as that. Maybe I want to go a little deeper than that. Let's do some research first and build upon how the content will be made. Discover your project's pains and desires. Does anybody do this? Do you guys do this? Have you ever had GPT go and look for the pains and pressure points that people in certain business niches have? Because you might not know. If you run an agency, you got to know, right? So that's
essential to messaging.
Yeah, so we ask it. Maybe it's martial arts studios and trainers. We want to know what their pain points are. What's their ideal customer? We're going to go with the same thing. Looking for new customers and better engagement. So you basically get these primaries down. What's the outcome you're looking for? Greater engagement, pre-qualified lead gen, whatever it might be. You create these yourself, and then you create it. So, I didn't give that one a name. Let's do that test dojo document, we might say, and hit create. But really what this is it's just creating the first stage in the actual content creation. So it's coming up with the persona and the business avatar that I'm looking to apply all this AI toward. And the person I'm going to nurture, the person I'm going to coax, whatever that might be. That's what gets applied to the templates and carried through each stage. So now it's developed this niche, avatar, primary goal, primary complaint, secondary goal, secondary complaint, promises, benefits, objections, ultimate fears, mistaken beliefs, expensive alternatives. How long would it have taken me to do that on my own? To build a persona like that? All day. Easily, all day. So I just did that in 5 minutes. Not even 30 seconds. So I moved that forward. Now I could generate a document from this, but I really did. I created a document that has all the data I need for the next step. So I should be able to copy this. And if you'll notice, you'll see this in a second. I don't even need to go there. If I go back to the templates, the lead magnet creation or any of these other steps here may refer back or may not to some of the steps that I did before. So if I want to swipe copy some email content, or if I want to do a long form blog article or generate a joke from this particular persona, some quotes, some song lyrics, these are the kind of tools that I love to see. Where now I'm not sitting in front of a little box that says type what you want, because we usually all sit there with a blank look on our face, with dough in the headlights going, okay, now what? Now we've got just little areas that we can click on and say, okay, now help me with this. it helps you walk through those steps and what type of content you want to create, have it summarize, a whole block of stuff. So you could take a full blog article, throw it in here, and have it summarize it in a paragraph. So you don't have to read the whole blog article. TLTD, or what is that? TLDR?
Yeah.
TLDR.
TLDR, too long, didn't
read.
Too long, didn't read. Yep.
You know how long it took me to figure that out?
Oh, same.
I had
long.
no clue what that meant for the longest time until literally probably a couple of years ago. So what do you think? Is this a tool you would use? I see a lot of these.
That's really awesome. I do love that it gives you ideas that you can run with, just like you said, rather than having a blank box.
Mhm.
It gives you prompts and ideas that you can start with. Oh, write a song. Let me try this. Marketing stuff. I mean, it has everything. Have you tried specifically with the marketing copy when it came to the pain points? Did you try with an industry that you're pretty familiar with already, and to see how factually accurate it is? Because I know in the past, sometimes it can kind of either pull facts out of the air or be misleading. So I'm just kind of curious about that. But I mean, anyone who knows.
Good point. Anytime you give it a persona, can it really achieve, professional AV producer quality personas? I don't know. I haven't really tested it that deep.
Right.
I think what I need for the connecting point to my client, it works to the extreme that I need it to. It hasn't answered anything wrong yet because I think I give it enough data. Glossaries are really good to use if you guys, and honestly, GPT can come up with some pretty easy glossaries really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Ask GPT, and do it, Ross, if you want on your screen.
Yep, I got it.
Go ahead and ask it to create just that, and you'll see what it does. It's pretty easy.
What kind of glossary are you going to make?
Just for whatever niche you're in, like insurance. Give me a list of terms that are used regularly in the life insurance niche, and give me the definitions of each in a glossary list. And it should produce a list of definitions of commonly used terms for that niche. And that's a good thing to plug into a bot right away, because then you're training the bot on all the common terminology for that niche. And if somebody asks some of those questions that way, it'll be able to instantly recognize that that's terminology from that and apply it properly. Because sometimes words have
That's really cool.
Dual or triple or quad meanings. And if we don't define those words for the bot, it's going to falter at times. So
like a screwdriver.
Did it pop up?
Yeah.
Did you get it to do it?
Yeah, it's still generating right now. So it went through general insurance terms, types of insurance products, key insurance concepts.
Oh, your share's not working. It must have broke your share or something. When our thing failed
If I can get it to work.
Don't worry about it. I'll do the share on my end.
That glossary for insurance has got to be 10 plus pages long. It's got to be working overtime. It's so many terms in insurance.
Yeah.
It goes deep.
It didn't go deep on this one, but it probably could have.
And I would like to see it. If you can do the screen share, see if it pops up.
I tried. It said loading, and I turned it off real quick.
All right. I'll do that on the back end and include it in the video post edit.
Oh, there we go.
So, did it make it? It is letting you share your screen? Okay, hold on. I'll be able to throw it up there now. Yeah, there we go. All right.
So I didn't do much. Premium insurance glossary of terms and products. And so it did. And I can tell you all of these are correct.
And it's gone, through about 50 items, maybe 30, 40?
So we got 9 terms. We have 8 products and 6 concepts. So not bad.
No, and it's similar to how I even build the agenda for the show. I mean, I ask it to come up with segments. So it writes individual segments, whether it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever I want it to do for the show, based on 4 people usually, because I don't know who's ever going to show each week. And it just organizes the data in a format that you guys have seen that we use as an outline for the show. I don't have to format it. I don't have to segment everything. It's just a simple paragraph that asks me for an outline. And it provides an outline or an agenda. And it's that simple usually.
Right, then I stopped share. There we go.
That's all right. I got you. One other thing I wanted to show you guys, and Ross, you might be able to benefit from this very soon because I managed to pull it off over the weekend that I mentioned to you.
I'm excited about this.
So dealing in automations like we do, we've always got something going on, and I'm working on a build here at home that's built on a Mac M1. And I'll go over to my share here for a second. And what I've built is what I'm calling a Twitter influencer for Best AI Podcast. And the way we're going to do that, oops, I just put it on the bottom. Probably won't be able to make this big enough for you guys to see it fully, but we'll try. Okay, so this is a very simple setup. There's not much to this. N8N, or Nathan, is how it's pronounced, supposedly, allows us to run a server on a small unit like an Apple M1. And this software is tied through the API and webhook connections of other softwares. For instance, Twitter or X and ChatGPT and my own X account, of course. So I had to create an OpenAI link to, an API connection to X and to OpenAI so that I could pull this off. I have a time trigger and I also have a manual trigger. So I could pull this anytime I want and fire off a tweet out to Twitter or X. I should start calling it X. That's AI related to try and get people to this broadcast. And the way that's done is pretty straightforward. This is simply a trigger step that is to say what the date time that the trigger fires. So it knows when to fire. This is firing every 6 hours. And then it comes over here to create the influencer profile. Similar to what we just saw about niche, style, inspiration, the persona aspect of it is developed here. I can do anything I want. I could make it niche, style, inspiration, and all those other things I just showed you guys on the other layout. I think I just closed that tab. All right. But if you guys remember, there was that list that I just produced that had all the things we could use when it comes to defining a persona for something. I can test these at each step to make sure that it's reaching the APIs and testing everything out to make sure it's at the proper format that I need it in. In this case, I'm telling ChatGPT to take each line of this text and it's going to produce a style, a niche, and an inspiration for each post. Okay. And if I test this step, it says it worked. So I've assigned the variables here. Now I can come back to this one and have it validate the tweet that it's going to produce. So it's taking JSON content, which is just formatted code content that it uses to extract things out of it. And it's going to verify the tweet that it's 280 characters long and it's, under the guise of what X is looking for. And then when it gets to this stage, it's going to go ahead and take all that data, go to GPT, create a original post. Oh, this one broke on me again. All right, I've had it do this to me a couple of times. It doesn't necessarily connect fast enough, or it'll create a tweet that's too long and it doesn't get through. And I don't know why. It's like it doesn't always work. But 9 times out of 10 it does. And in this case, it's not going to work for me. So when it creates this tweet, it's basically just a variable that's brought in from here. And we add this content variable out of the content that comes from ChatGPT. And it'll take this and fill it in for the post. And then every 6 hours out on my page, if I head over to Best Studios, LLC, you can see these tweets went out every 6 hours this morning. 9 hours ago, 15 hours ago, 3 hours ago. Harnessing the power of AI to revolutionize healthcare. Some emojis. Imagine a world where medical diagnosis or faster treatments are personalized. Patients' outcomes are optimized. The future's now. I was also requesting it to add the hashtag Best AI Podcast and our link, but I think X started to kick back the link. I don't know if Elon's even allowing auto posting of links through the API anymore. I'm going to have to double check that. But it did work a couple times, and I could probably roll down and you'll see. Let me see if it did. Nope, I guess it never did post any of the links that it said it was going to. So there could be something in the API connection there. But I was able to actually just now sit back and let this thing fire off every 6 hours, automated with its own context. It's all applied to a specific niche with certain requirements, but it'll all be organic content that's created on the fly. And so I won't really have to touch it unless somebody actually responds to it. Now, I could set up a bot to respond as well, but I'm not a fan of those. It's always the same response. You know, somebody makes a comment on your post and it's like, well, thanks for posting on my thought. Be sure to follow this link. You know, okay, I've seen it 20 times because 20 people commented.
I think in your prompt, you could make it respond differently.
Yeah, you probably could. I don't see why you couldn't.
This is the fun stuff that you get to do. I actually have a buddy of mine who's trialing out an AI on Facebook that will go through and read your newsfeed and will comment on people's posts. And it's not to actually engage on those posts, but it's to trick the algorithm for Facebook, because the more you engage with other people's content, the more it promotes your content. And so these people are getting like 8, 10x the reach that they've been getting prior, because the AI is actually outreaching on other people's pages.
Well, that's good stuff, though. It's like me, and not a lot of people know this. If you like or love your own posts on Facebook, it will move farther than if you don't. Because any instant engagement that you do to a post, and then don't do it immediately. Like once you post it, don't slap your own stamp on it. Give it a few minutes and go back and hit it. And then maybe share it with someone right away. And you'll find that those posts move further, I have anyway, from my experience, than posts that you don't. Why, I don't know. Well, I just do. If I can't love my own posts, who can, right?
Self-love, it's important.
It is.
That's shelf 5, yeah.
So, Chris, I gotta ask, have you played with the new audio song builder yet?
I have not.
Ooh,
Unfortunately not. You demoed it for me. It sounded really awesome and cool. And it's free right now, isn't it? And it seems to have capabilities that are even more advanced than Suno V3, which is pretty impressive.
What is this?
Udio.com. Yeah, Ross, neither one of you guys were around when Lee introduced this to me. And what we have found here, let's just do.
I believe with Udio, the songs are shorter, but the vocals are even more well produced.
Can you hear this? You probably can't hear this right now.
No, not currently. No.
I don't know why it doesn't come into you guys. All right, it's because it's Mike mixing for me. They may have heard it out there. The one beauty of this is the vocals. The vocals are insane. There's a lot of overlaying vocals. There's a lot of variance in the vocals, a lot of chorus in the vocals, which we got some of that in Suno, but sometimes you got that like robotic-y sound to the voice. You do not hear that hardly at all on Udio. It's just.
Can you spell it for me, Leland? What's it called?
Udio.com. Just like
Ross is already making a master class on it.
Oh, yeah. And you'll be able to find us all making videos on these softwares before very long. I'm planning on starting up on Monday on Best AI TV, which is going to be where I'm going to post all of my software examples and stuff that I'm using, things that I'm playing in, things that I like to use. That'll be coming up real soon. But yeah, I think you'll like this one, Ross. The beauty of this one that I found, and I did a 3-minute song in this. Now, the way I had to do it was in 30-second segments, but it continues on. So you just have it extend that 30 seconds to the next 30 seconds. And when you do, it actually allows here, I can do it right here. So I have remix or extend. Let me fill the screen. If I go to extend this song, which is Limitless AI, when I hit extend, I have a big choice. I can even switch up the genre at this point if I wanted to, if I were to remix it or whatever. But the beauty of the sectioning is I can now add an intro. If that part of the song didn't feel like an intro to the song, I could add one to it. I can add a middle section before or after the content I selected, or just add it as an outro to end the song. That
That's
is
one thing
something we
Suno
didn't
is
have
missing.
before. Yes, that would be a beautiful thing to have. Or you can just reset the whole thing, go into manual mode and change your prompts, change your tags, the original prompt that you had and everything else. So yeah, generates lyrics.
That's really cool.
Everything. Same kind of format even as the other one. You know, you can share it. You can have a playlist. It does do small videos of the songs in a little different way than the other ones were.
Does Suno do video?
Free. Suno does do video, but they're not like you'd think. They're more like karaoke video type things.
Gotcha.
They're just little backgrounds with some text on them to show the lyrics, and the music plays. That's it. Most of them aren't even animated. Now, their pricing is, I'm sure, going to be steep over here once it comes out, because if they're already blowing Suno out of the water, they're going to be top dog in the market. They're going to price it accordingly. So,
I got my mom hooked on Suno.
And it's not expensive. Like what, $10?
So what is your mom making with Suno?
Yeah, right.
Her and my stepdad apparently just make up songs all the time, but they don't know how to do the instrumentals or anything else like that. So they literally just start writing their song lyrics, and they've been putting them to it. They've created hundreds of songs in the past week since I showed it to them.
That's
like
awesome.
It's insane.
That's adorable.
It's fun, man. Like, that's what I like to see, that cool tools like that are now going to be going mainstream with just the everyday user and not just business use case. I think all of us here have been just using it for business use case as much as possible, but to see people using it for fun is where user adoption is really going to exponentially take off. And then I think that's going to fund a lot of what we're going to do on our end as well.
I totally agree. A lot of I didn't bring a lot of news up today because that's usually Lee's job, and Lee is working on our AI on the street. We were going to actually present and give first offering of him last week, but our timing was off. Lee was trying to pre-record stuff ahead of time, and we just kind of ran out of time. So we are working on his professor to come out here and give us some daily news in the beginning. Not sure how that's going to go yet, but we're going to give it a shot. I also thought about creating a show at least once with all of us having some type of physical avatar represent us on the show. So that'd be cool. It's not us, but it's an image of us.
Make it like a
lip synced and voice synced and everything throughout the broadcast.
Celebrity deathmatch style.
Yeah, but there's an app out on AppSumo right now called Puppet It, I think it's called. And it uses more of a cartoonish character, and you kind of have to apply some effects to it to make it maybe look like the person you really want it to look like, or you just go find one that looks a lot like that person. And
puppetry?
Puppetry, that's what it was called. And then you just add all the audio behind it, and it does all the lip singing, does all the head bobbing and all that stuff while it's talking. And there are people making podcasts with this where they just record the audio of the podcast and then let the two avatars sit and talk it out. It's like, okay, sounds kind of cool. It's different. It's creative. It's unique. It's the kind of things I want to see happen with AI. You know.
I just got it, so we can use it.
You just bought it? This is how we roll, right? Give it an offer and we'll buy it for sure. There's a few out there I want to buy this week too that are looking really good. Always new software coming up.
We'll test this one. If you want to get another one, we can compare them and see.
For sure. All right, guys, I think that's all we've got for tonight. We don't need to cover much more. We'll cut this down a little bit during post-edit. Come back to you guys. If there's anything that we can't fix, I'll come back to you guys. Hopefully Lee will be back next week. Not sure about Brad. He's still going through his house issues, and we'll see if Greg can maybe make it around one of these times in the next couple of weeks, if he's got time to stop in and say hi. So, but
we can make a puppetry version of him using Chris.
There we go.
Yeah,
That's what we'll
the
do.
same.
If he doesn't show up, that's our threat to Greg. If you don't show up, we're going to automate your ass. All right, guys. Thanks once again for stopping by. I appreciate all your time. And anything you want to give on the way out?
Oh, appreciate everything you do, Leland.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Leland. Great time as usual.
We're going to be pulling those workshops. I keep mumbling because I'm hearing myself. We're going to be pulling off those workshops real soon. I've got a lot of plans. I've put a lot of stuff together in paper form, and I'm also putting together my own online course program. So we're probably going to incorporate some of that into the whole principle too, so that if you can't learn it live with us, there will be these little classes that you can go to and learn them for yourself on your own time. So speaking of time, next Sunday, 7 p.m., be here. See you guys later. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.
In this digital age, we're breaking the mold. With AI fusion, let the story unfold. From life to business, the future is here. Unlock the potential, make it crystal clear. It's time to fuse, let the sparks ignite. AI in action, reaching new heights. Love and business blending into one. AI fusion, the journey's just